Next is the pattern of biodiversity. Now, biodiversity is not uniformly distributed on Earth. There are two major patterns that I explain on this NCERT book, that is the latitudinal gradient in biodiversity. What does this means? Latitude means distance from the equator, and biodiversity decreases as we move away from the equator towards the pole. So the maximum species which we get, that is in the equator region, and minimum species are in the poles. So species diversity decreases as we move away from the equator towards the pole. So what is important for exam? Like near the equator, the latitude is 0 degree. So the bird species are 1400 species. New York or USA, here the latitude is 41 degree north. So here the bird species are 105 species, whereas the Greenland, it have a latitude of 71 degree north. So here the bird species are 56 species. So it shows a clear decrease in biodiversity as we increase the latitude. As the latitude is increased, the biodiversity will be decreased. Then India's position. India lies largely in the tropical latitude. Hence, India has greater than 1200 species of bird. How many? 1200. That is 1200 species of bird are there. Greater than 1200 species of bird are present. So the tropical versus temperate forest, it is told about tropical forest, which is up to 10x more plant species, that is multiple species are present. And temperate forest, which is Midwest in US, they have far fewer species. So more species in the tropical forest and far fewer species in the temperate forest. Now Amazon forest is a best example of richest biodiversity hotspot on Earth. Here the number of plant species is greater than 40,000 and fishes are 3,000, whereas bird, it have a data of 1,300, whereas mammal have 427 and amphibian have 427, reptile 378, and invertebrate, which is greater, the greatest one, which is greater than 1,25,000. Undiscovered insect, which is approximately 2 million estimated. So Amazon, it has the greatest biodiversity on Earth. Why are tropics more biodiverse? Because of the three hypotheses. The temperate region have frequently glaciers, that is glacial ice ages, and the tropics have undistributed from millions of years. There are more time and more species are present. The stable and predictable climates are there. The tropics have less seasonal variation and more constant environment, and this promote the niche speciation, co-evolution, and higher species diversity. More the sunlight, high will be the primary productivity. More food will have more tropical level and which will have more species. So tropics show higher biodiversity due to long evolutionary time. It stabilizes the climate and high productivity. The next topic is species area relationship. As the area increases, number of species increases, but only up to a limit. Observed by Alexandra von Humboldt. So there is a mathematical expression which is very important. The species richness is equal to the constant area. Here S is the species and A is the area and C is constant and Z is the slope. That is regression coefficient. So logarithmic form log S is equal to log C plus Z log A. So Z is the slope, log A is the area. So on log graph, the curve becomes a straight line. We can see here in the graph where x-axis has the area, y-axis is the species richness, and on normal scale there is a curve, and on log scale there is a straight line. So value of x is very important. For example, point of view here, which is for small area, it is 0.1 to 0.2, and similar for plant, bird, mammal and mollusk. Whereas in large area, in continent or tropic, the z is equal to, that is the value is 0.6 to 1.2, where in mammals in tropical forest and frugivorous birds, where z is approximately 1.15. What does a steeper slope means? Species increases very rapidly with increase in the area. So higher Z will have a greater habitat diversity plus evolutionary history. So latitude gradient, where biodiversity tropics is greater than the temperate will be greater than the polar. Reason is longer evolutionary time, stable climate, high solar energy. Species area relationship, species richness will increase with the area. S is equal to CAZ, where Z is the smallest area. For smallest area it is 0 is 0.1 to 0.2, and for largest tropic area it is from 0.6 to 1.2. So the next topic is importance of species diversity to ecosystem. So does the number of species really matter for ecosystem function? For many years, ecologists believe that more species is equal to more stable ecosystem. But what is stability? What is this stable ecosystem? So according to NCERT, a stable ecosystem, it shows a little variation in a productivity year after year and is resilient to disturbance like natural and man-made. The natural one is like flood, drought and fire, and man-made is the deforestation. Is resistance to invasive by alien like invasive species. Then there is a David Tilman experiment. It is very important here. The David Tilman conducted long-term outdoor grassland experiment. What did he found? He plotted with more species, showed less year-to-year variation in biomass and higher productivity. Increased species diversity will give ecosystem working better, and the conclusion was that the species richness contributes to the stability and productivity. So why is biodiversity important for humans? Biodiversity is not just for ecosystem health, it is essential for survival of human race. So NCERT asks the provoking question that does it matter species they go extinct, and what if Western Ghat loses all of frog species forever, or what if ant species drop from 20,000 to 15,000? So no direct answer, but the loss is definitely reduced ecosystem quality. Then one more important thing in this paragraph is Rivet Popper Hypothesis. This is very important one, which was proposed by Paul Ehrlich he was a Stanford ecologist. So the ecosystem is like an aeroplane and the species is like a rivet. So let's understand this hypothesis where ecosystem is like an aeroplane and species is like a metal pin holding the aeroplane part together. That is a rivet. So just like an aeroplane need thousands of rivets to stay intact, and ecosystem need many species to function properly. So loss of few species, only a few rivets are removed, then aeroplane will still fly and ecosystem appear normal. So no immediate visible damage is seen, and this is why people think small extinction doesn't matter. And loss of many species, that is many rivets are removed over time. Aeroplane become weak and unstable, so ecosystem lose its resilience, productivity fluctuations, and the productivity is fluctuated and more vulnerable to disturbance, and damage is low but cumulative. So loss of key species, that is keystone speciation, that is rivet holding the wing or engine, they are removed and a plane suddenly crashes, so the ecosystem collapses. These are the keystone species like top predator, pollinator and foundation species. So why this hypothesis important? Main message is that the all species are important, but some are critically important. Like ecosystem can tolerate limited species loss beyond a threshold, that is a sudden collapse. We often don't know which species is key rivet. Loss of biodiversity, why it is happening so fast? Yes, but very slow. Speciation, that is formation of a new species, take thousands of millions of years. It requires genetic variation, isolation, long evolutionary time, and if the species is lost, happening in decades or century, much faster than speciation. So what is the conclusion? The species loss rate is greater than the species formation rate. which gains into net result, that is rapid biodiversity decline. So who is responsible? The human activities are the main cause. How exactly do humans cause biodiversity loss? The Evil Quartet. Habitat loss and fragmentation. What human does? Cut the forest for agriculture, urbanization, road and dams, and industry that result in the species loss, food shelter, breeding site, and population declines that cause the extinction. So tropical rainforest example, like earlier it was 14% of the earth land, now it is approximately 6%. So Amazon cleared for soya bean farming and cattle grazing, that is forest loss is equal to maximum species loss. Overexploitation meaning human harvest species faster than they can reproduce. Overexploitation, that means human harvest species faster than they reproduce. For example, overfishing and overhunting. Overhunting caused the extinction and overfishing collapse of the fish stock. Classical examples are Steller sea cow, that is extinct due to hunting, and passenger pigeon, that is extinct due to mass hunting. Then next is the invasive species invasion. That when does this happens, like a human introduce a foreign species intentionally or accidentally, so the alien species, it can compete, it can predate, or it can spread the disease. For example, the plants like Ecornia, then Parthenium and Lantana camara. So alien species often wipe out native species. Then coexistence means when one species goes extinct, the dependent species that will also be disappearing, like plant pollinator relationship or host parasite relationship. So if the host species dies, the parasite must die. So why is human driven extinction more dangerous? Because 6 mass extinction. This is an important one, that earth has the 5 mass extinction. Can you name them? The current one is human induced, much faster and global. The rate is 100 to 1000 times faster than natural rate. So why should human worry? Because loss of biodiversity, it leads to reduced food security, climate instability, loss of medicines and ecosystem collapse. So human are removing rivets from their own aeroplane. So speciation is a slow evolutionary process where human-driven habitat destruction, overexploitation, invasive species and coexistence have accelerated species loss, leading to a rapid global decline in biodiversity. Thanks for watching. Do like, share and subscribe.